Here we go, Steeler Nation. My name is Jack Sperry, and this is Steelers Talk. Today, I'm going to be answering all of your burning questions on the Pittsburgh Steelers on today's mailbag episode. So without further ado, let's jump into the first question of the day. The first question comes from Zeno, and he asks, if Kenny for some reason ends up sucking, do you go back to Mitchell or you go to Mason? Now, first of all, I just want to say I don't think that this kind of scenario is going to happen. You spent a first-round pick on Kenny Pickett for a reason. You invested a lot in this kid, so you're going to let him make mistakes, grow within the system, and if he ends up not playing well, I think they're just going to say this is going to be a rebuilding year for Pickett. But let's just say that he sucks. He's just absolutely terrible. He can barely complete 5 passes a game, and they have to go to either Trubisky or Rudolph. Which guy would I take? Personally, I would take Mason Rudolph. We've seen this offense with Mitchell Trubisky, and it wasn't great. Let's just put it that way. Mitch didn't play awful, I suppose, but yeah, it just wasn't working with Trubisky under center. I would rather go with Rudolph. Let's look at Pickett's numbers from last week. 10 of 13, 120 yards, 2 rush touchdowns, and then 3 interceptions. I went through his film this week. His first 2 interceptions, in my opinion, were on him. But that last one, that third one, was on a Hail Mary chuck. Like, who really cares about that? He's trying to go and win a football game. I don't really count that one against him. Okay, so you know my answer. I believe in Kenny Pickett. So I want to know what you guys think. Type me if you believe in Kenny Pickett's future. Okay, number 2, Truth Pigeon. He asked, can we trade Tomlin? Okay. And then the next one here we have, is Tomlin still the coach? Heard Bill Parcells coming out of retirement to be a real Steelers head coach. Man, I just don't understand this thinking from certain Steelers fans. Mike Tomlin, in my opinion, is one of the best NFL head coaches maybe for sure in the league right now, but possibly of all time. His ability to connect with players, to scheme up blitzes on defense, to teach disciplined football. This guy knows his stuff, and his track record shows it, man. Like, he's never had a losing season, 9 multiple or double-digit win seasons. I mean, the guy is a straight-up Steeler legend. I mean, all the coaches in Steeler lore are Steeler legends, but this guy has maintained the standard for more than a decade at this point. And now I see some fans saying we need to get rid of this guy, but at the end of the day, he can't control the personnel. I mean, he has certain control over it, but, you know, at the end of the day, the NFL is designed for teams that do really well to have worse draft picks, and at the end of the day, they're going to eventually regress. And that's what's happened to the Steelers right now. We're in a rebuilding situation now. Mike Tomlin's not the issue. You can point the finger at the quarterback situation. You can point the finger at Matt Canada's offense. But in my opinion, I just don't think you can point the finger at somebody that's had so much success in this league for so long. So let me know in the comments section, do you like Mike Tomlin as the Steelers head coach? This will be the pinned comment on today's video. Type Y for yes and type N for no. If there's an ad break on this video, just go ahead and go to the comments section and give us an answer to this question. Okay, the next question here comes from Jay Bistel. Why does Canada still have a job here? Plain and simply, I think it's continuity, right? You want Kenny Pickett, a young quarterback, to have continuity with the playbook, all these other things. He needs a solid foundation for him to have success in this league. I think he should stay for now because, like, you need to give that solid foundation to Pickett. And at the end of the day, the offense actually fits Pickett's play style pretty darn well. So, you know, Canada's offense has not been great to this point. I'm not trying to say that he's some offensive genius or that he is the future, and it's certainly a possibility that we do need to fire him at some point this season. But what I'm saying is give Kenny Pickett a chance in his offense before you completely blow it up. And, I mean, who knows? I mean, the grass isn't always greener in these kinds of situations. We could be getting somebody that's even worse than Matt Canada, and that's not something that Steeler fans want. So what do you think about Matt Canada? I want to know in the comments section. Type F for fire and type W for wait. And now we have our next question here from Mr. Marvelo. How you doing, Marvelo? How do you feel about the news coming out about Mitch? This is referring to the limits the team had on him, such as not being able to check off. And by that, I think he means audible, by the way. Having to avoid the middle. The fact that in the stadium the energy was off because fans weren't behind him, causing offense to be stagnant. Do you believe he got a fair shot at being the Steelers' QB1? If no one in stadium supported him, they do Kenny. I'm interested in how you feel Mitch was done and how that emotional element from the fan base just wasn't fair or the limits he had. So plain and simply, my thoughts on the whole situation. I've charted every single throw Mitchell Trubisky has had this season. In the Browns game, he was fine. The Jets game, he was kind of fine. The first two games, he was straight up awful. Here's his stats from the season. 59.5 completion percentage, 653 yards, 2 tutties, and 2 picks. Not very good at all. But here's the thing with Mitchell Trubisky. He hasn't earned the right to call audibles. The way that it works, guys, is you earn the trust from your coaches to call audibles, to do all these things at the line of scrimmage, to throw over the middle. And plain and simply, the coaching staff didn't trust Mitch to do these things. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to blame Mike Tomlin or Matt Canada for making that decision. I'm not at practice. I'm not in the meeting rooms. I don't know how well Mitchell Trubisky is picking up the offense. So at the end of the day, I can't blame these guys for making that call to not give him the option to audible. He needs to earn it. He just didn't. Next question here comes from Bootsy. Bootsy, love that name, man. When are we getting rid of Terrell Edmunds? He can't cover anyone. So let's look at Terrell Edmunds here. Terrell Edmunds, he's been a solid starter, strong safety for us. He's usually been used as a blitzer in the Mike Tomlin defense. But now things have changed. With TJ Watt out of the lineup, we're playing a lot of zone. And Terrell Edmunds, that's just not really his comfort zone. Let's look at his numbers from this season. I think this is where Bootsy is coming from here. 7 of 10 targets have been completions against him in coverage. He's allowed 70 yards, 2 touchdowns, and only 1 pass breakout. And plain and simply, that's not very good. I can see why, Bootsy, you think that. But let's look at the PFF coverage grade. It's 73.2, which is the 16th best for a safety in the National Football League right now. And the reason why these two types of numbers are separate is because Edmonds is a zone player in the middle of the field that can get manipulated by QB's eyes. And the way that zone defenses work, safeties have very little power over where they're going. They're reading the QB's eyes, and NFL QBs, they are masters at manipulating these kinds of defenders with their eyes. And because of that, the coverage grade is high, but the numbers aren't really reflecting that. So once we get TJ Watt back, once we get these bigger pieces on our defense back, Terrell Edmonds can return to his normal role. I think he's going to be a heck of a lot better. So I don't think it's a good idea to trade Terrell Edmonds right now. I actually kind of like him quite a bit. But I want you guys to let me know in the comments what you guys think, what we should do about Terrell Edmonds. Do you think we should trade him? Type T if you think that. Or do you think we should keep him? Type K in the comments. Next question comes from Sky here. Could Derek or DJ Watt help in the offense in any way? Running, blocking, catching, etc. Now, I really like Derek Watt, all right? I think he's gritty. I think he's tough. I think all the Watt brothers, I have a high amount of respect for those guys. I mean, obviously, you just look at what TJ and JJ have done in their career. It's been phenomenal. But I'm not sure if giving him a larger role in this offense is a good idea. We have 3 really, really talented receivers on the team right now, in George Pickens, Deontay Johnson. I know a lot of you guys aren't liking Chase Claypool right now, but he does have a lot of talent, and they're excellent run blockers, which means that if we stay in 11 personnel, which means 3 receivers on the field, we can really run block on the outside. George Pickens, if you've seen his blocking highlights, he straight up destroys dudes, man. Like, we need to be exploiting that more often, in my opinion. Derek Watt isn't really the kind of weapon that I want to utilize in that way. Okay, guys, get more Steelers news for free here on YouTube with Steelers Talk. I want you guys to go subscribe to the channel right now. We are so close to 18,000 subscribers. Help us get over the limit right now by clicking that big red button. Thanks, guys, for the subscription. All right. Next question comes from Jack412. Why play Kenny P when the line isn't right and when you have time to develop an O-line for him in the future and preserve him? Now, here's the thing, Jack. I actually don't share your view on the Steelers O-line. I think that our offensive line is actually doing pretty decently right now. Here are the PFF O-line pass grades right now. pretty decent. Like, we've shown this graphic a couple of times because I think that the Steelers offensive line gets kind of bashed as not that great, or, they can't block, but these guys have actually held up pretty darn nice, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from these guys. So at the end of the day, I think the Steelers are fine. I think Kenny Pickett is going to be just fine behind this offensive line, and you drafted this guy for a reason. You got to play him, and at the end of the day, he's going to make mistakes, but I'm very excited for the future in Pittsburgh. Okay, guys, if you guys want to get a question on the next mailbag episode, you got to put it in the comment section in this video, and you got to put #Steelers so we can find it and put it on next week's show. I appreciate everything from you guys, Steeler Nation. You're the best. You guys are the best fan base in the NFL, and I just love the hell out of you. All right, guys, that'll be it for today's show. I'll be back soon. See you guys next time.